everyone. This week I've been asked, I don't know how many times, if I could tell people some solo drills, things that people can do at home that would allow them to keep their body moving and keep the movements of Jiu Jitsu. So I've come up with, or I've written down my top 14 movements that people can do at home that will enable them to keep training Jiu Jitsu, keep progressing even though we can't be out rolling. So, number one is the shrimp, the most important movement in Jiu Jitsu, as Jiu Jitsu is all about hip control, controlling your own hips, controlling your partner's hips, and the ability to move them will be the thing that distinguishes how good your Jiu-Jitsu is going to be. So I like to say that a person's Jiu-Jitsu is only ever going to be as good as the movements that they can't make. So we all know the movements that you can, and that won't limit your Jiu-Jitsu. What will is the ones that you can't make. Okay, so there's about 15 movements. I'm going to go through them briefly and give a short explanation. Do my best to explain it while I'm making the movements, and then for you guys, give you something to do. So yeah, the first one is the shrimp. Standard backward shrimp. Start on our back, and the whole idea of it is to go from our back, so flat on our back, onto our side, into a position where here we're as slow as we can be. I'm flat on my back. Usually if I'm here, I've got my arms out wide as well, being controlled, and this is the last place I ever want to be. So the first thing is elbows tucked in tight. Get your arms as strong as they can be, hands in front, creating a frame between whatever is on top and your chest. And I'm going to lift my hips up slightly, so there's a slight bridge. I turn onto my shoulder and my bottom leg, so for me right now, this is my bottom leg, this is my top leg. I straighten it out as I only ever want to be using one leg, keeping my elbows tucked in. I send my hips away, and then to complete the movement, send my head away and bring my knee up. So now I've gone, what I don't want to do is, as I shrimp, place my knees together. This will kill my movement and allow anyone that's on top to switch to the other side, start taking my back. When I'm shrimping, I want to keep my knees wide apart, keep my frame in tight. So what a lot of people do is they fall into the trap of trying to make a huge movement, make one big movement and make it wrong, rather than 3 or 4 and do it tight, do it correctly. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. To add on to this, you can go and do a shrimp, and then thread this bottom leg through this triangle here to give you the ability to go onto your front, onto your knees, into an open turtle. From there as well, you can spring forwards, down, and then break fall. So, other side, we have starting on our back, onto our side, here. Standard shrimp, 2-part movement, hip, head, hip, head. From there, arms in, bridging up, threading this foot through, straight through, on your shoulder, hips up in the air, onto your knees, break fall. Okay, as well as the standard shrimp, which we use defensively, there is a forward shrimp that we'll use offensively, And we use that in places like half guard, reclaiming guard. And it's the opposite. We go from our back, rather than our top leg, we use the bottom leg. I don't want to be doing this as it gives my knees together. Most important thing in Jiu Jitsu is that while my knees are apart, I can have a guard. Ever my knees are together at any point, I have no guard, I have no movement. Okay? One thing that I don't want to do in a standard shrimp is go to the end of my range. So here, I don't want to go where my legs are straight. I've got no more movement. I always want some space in between my knees, the ability to move my legs, bring my knees in, turn. Okay? Now, going forward, I use the bottom leg rather than the top. And because I'm in half guard, I like to think of it as if I'm scooping. So I go onto my side and then pull forward to go flat onto my back. Onto my side, forward to go flat onto my back. Move that around. So I'm on my side, toes in, heel up, and now I'll go, because I'm attacking, I want to close as much space as I can, as quickly as I can. There. Okay. As well as the forwards and backward shrimps, there is an inverted shrimp, what I like to call an inverted shrimp. And from here, I would use this in a butterfly guard situation. So I've got the arm, say I'm sat up, I've got the sumigaeshi. I would use this leg to complete the sweep. The thing with a butterfly guard sweep is it's not always about me sending my opponent over. A lot of the time, it's about me getting my hips higher than theirs. So, if I was to use, I've got a training ball. Let's say I'm here. What I could do is I could have the ball, I could flick it over and then climb over. That's going to take a lot more effort than having the ball where it is and now me lifting up to being able to sit over. So the movement is on my shoulder, so I'm on my side, on my hip, on my shoulder, like a forward shrimp, but this time I'm going to bridge and extend. This will allow me to get to my knees. So I'm here, up and over. Can use out, out, up and over. Okay. Another one that I find very, very important is the pendulum. I use this to off-balance my opponent in side control, to go from a half guard to a deep half guard, and it's easy to get wrong. What will happen is I'm on my back, or I'm on my side, and I've got control of the leg, and I want to send somebody over to the other side, and this. There's a lot going wrong here that would mean that I wouldn't be able to move my opponent. Whenever you're sweeping somebody, you want to disturb their balance first. Before you do anything, you want to disturb their balance. So I'm going to be here, cross my feet, tucked up in a ball. I'm going to extend my legs out, sweep along the mat, turn, bring it in. Sweep along the mat, turn, bring it in. So, I go out, around, and in. Out, around, and in. Never touching the floor with my feet, always using my hips. Okay, next one. Every fundamental student's favourite two. My back, moving my hips along the mat or along the floor. Okay, here, going side to side, show you all a bit of leg there, here, across, across. Okay, you'll use this when you can't put your feet on the floor and need to move your hips, which can happen a fair amount. What I imagine, or what I teach people to do is imagine there is a rope running along the room, and you're going to pull yourself down that rope. Here, you're going to go the other way. You'll see my hips and my shoulders are going in the opposite directions. Okay, and the second one that every fundamental student loves is butt walking. Everyone loves this. There. I'm going from here, lifting my feet up, and I'm allowing my hip to come up, walking along the mat into there. Everyone loves that. Okay, going into more sort of dynamic movements. So that one you won't really use ever, but what it will do is it will allow you to play like an open butterfly guard. Watch the lighter weights. The Japanese play this a lot because it's so close to a tomonagi or a failed tomonagi. So a great sort of ab workout, really burns the hip flexors. Right, triangles. There's a few different ways that we can practice these. We can go just crossing our legs with our hands on the floor, moving our hips, making sure moving our hips side to side, doing your best to practice getting your shins in a line, not like this. There. Okay. What you don't want to do, make this the core practice of your triangle rather than this. This is bad technique for a triangle. In a triangle, I never want to be square on. I never want to be where a person can squash me, stack me up, where my legs are going over my head and I'm going to be squashed. A lot of beginners will get caught here because rather than turning the hips out and triangling, they try and throw the feet up and get caught going back. So it's triangles, side to side, small movements, going as fast as you want. There. Bridges. This is the worst bridge you could ever hope to do. There. The whole purpose of bridging is to escape a bad situation, a bad position. Anytime you allow your arm to leave your body, it's going to get worse. Arms stay tucked in for a bridge, and you don't need to practice going side to side. You expose your back a lot, and you get into bad habits. Just stay in tight, feet as close to your bum as you can, as that will give you a higher lift. Elbows tucked in. Keep the back of your head on the floor, because trying to bridge here will limit the movement in your hips. It's a tip when you're in mount. Lift the head, kills a lot of the hip movement. So keep your back of your head on the floor, and you can just lift up, drop down, 10, 15 repetitions. All of these, you can do as many as you like. There. Every movement that's in this, you can't do enough of. There's no magic number. You can't say, I've done 100, I've mastered it. There's things that I learn about the standard shrimp still as a 2nd degree black belt. You just cannot do enough of them. Okay. On to the last few movements. Okay. Yep. Starting, well, you can start here advanced, or if you need a bit more momentum, you can start on your back and rock up. But essentially, what you're going to be doing is tucking a leg. Let's say we're here, tucking a leg, coming up into a kneeling position. From here, up, and in, staying low. This position is great for then going through for a shot. So we're here, we can combine the two movements. I'll come up, there. Make sure as you go you get a good stretch in the psoas. So you're up, turn and lunge. When you feel that you've got that, if you've got it in this without putting your hands on the floor, you can go up, down. If you need to, put the hand on the floor and come up. Okay, if even that is a bit difficult, add some momentum into it. Okay, so you can start off easiest there, slightly harder, okay, and harder still, and then extra advanced there. Up, belly to thigh, straight back, in. Okay, last two. That movement, by the way, is good again for, it's the equivalent of a forward shrimp. You're trying to get in close, maybe get under hooks, drive through. The next one is when you're trying to get away. So, we're here, hand on the floor, frame, so here look, big space, close that space, close this space, and then hip up, leg comes underneath onto my knee. You'll notice that my hand starts where my knee ends. Here, strong posture. I use this whenever I've got an opponent driving into me. So I might be in half guard. Use this a lot. Look, I've got this frame. This might be an underhook, or if they're in front, hand on the shoulder, elbow on the other shoulder, hand on the floor. Look, a straight line. I don't know if you can see, a straight line between this hand and this hand. I don't want this happening where my arms are out like that. I want a straight line. So there. One. There. Two. So you'll see it's my hips going backwards. And here, my hips going forwards. Okay. The last one, and is the most advanced, but again can be made to be a lot easier, is an inversion, bolo roll. So start here, hands behind, onto the shoulder, walk around and end again. Now roll. That's the most advanced. To make it a little easier, you can use your elbow. So rather than hands behind your back, hands on your hips, elbows tucked in, and then as you tuck your head in and bring your legs over, you can use the bottom elbow to lift. You might see it better this side maybe. Well, I go down and then use my elbow to lift my hips. Maybe if I do it backwards. So elbow tucked in, and I'm using this elbow to open up, spinning the legs around the head. Using my elbow to open up, send me around. Okay. Other than that, the things that you really want are forward roll, in, backwards roll, and then what you can do is you can start to really put all those together if you've got the space. What I'll do is I'll put a video up, or you can YouTube Andre Galvao. I think he calls it animal drills, and you see him doing a lot of these movements all around the gym. Okay, if you want some extra, you can go from here, bring your knee around, up, there, up, up. This is more, for me, I think, in dynamic stretches, which is why I've not added them in the movements, not with a an explanation. For me, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, about 15 movements will allow you to carry on progressing your jiu-jitsu. These are just movements. This isn't, you can do them faster to get more of a workout, get your lungs going. It's not anything that I would